Welcome to the Diva Deets, the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I'm your host and coach, Danya Powers, and today we are going to really tackle the series that I am putting out on my public platforms called Macros Made Simple with No Diet BS. And if you are not following me on my social media, I want you to go follow me right now so that you can catch all the information that I'm putting out, because I put a lot of work into this and I would love to have your support on it. My Instagram is at Danya Powers EC. My TikTok is at Danya Powers EC. My YouTube is Empowered Coaching with Danya Powers. You can find me on Facebook as Empowered Coaching or Danya Powers, either one. And I would love to have you follow and support and just really save these reels so that you have a really good understanding of how to create a simple meal plan for you. Okay. Because fat loss after 40 does not need to be complicated, but it does need to be done correctly. And so this Macros Made Simple is important to me because we all have the ability to eat the way that we need to at this age to feel our best. At some point in time, it's less about losing weight and more about making sure that we have the longevity, the health, et cetera, et cetera. Even though we don't want to have fat in places that make us feel uncomfortable, we do want to feel sexy at this age. And so that is a part of it. I'm not negating it, but we also have to think about like our forever journey in this, right? And when we're 90 years old, maybe we're going to be like, I just want to wear the bikini. But most women are not. Most women are just super, excited to be living, still possibly driving at that age, all the things that come with quality of life at that age, right? Well, at almost 50, I'm thinking about those things because Macros Made Simple is not about tracking forever. It's about making sure that we have something that has longevity. It's not about perfection. And it's definitely not about eating less and hoping for the best, because that is something that I run into all the time. It's really about understanding why your body needs consistency and needs fuel. And now, why is it so different? Because why are so many women accidentally stalling their progress by doing the one thing that we've been taught as Generation X, and that's under eating? Because we've just had it just beat into us, the ultra slim fast world. Eat a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and a sensible dinner. And I'm not trying to call that company out, but that, it's roughly about 800 calories, and that's not sustainable. And I even think that they changed their MO a little bit through the years because it isn't sustainable. But the Diet Corporation, as a rule, they want you to stay addicted to their products. And so their whole hope is that you regain the weight. And that's not the case for me. I don't want that to happen, but setbacks do happen. Okay. I'm not going to say that they don't. And I hang with clients. When setbacks happen, I'm hanging tight with clients. Most women I work with aren't overeating all week. They're not. I will say that many women, just to give you my story, in my 30s, I was like perfection, Monday through Thursday, perfection. And then Friday day, perfection. Friday night to Sunday, I was just kind of a little bit off the grid, a lot off the grid. And when you're in your 30s, your movement will help remove that. It will help change that. And when you're in your 40s, those weekends will kick your butt. And so most women I work with aren't overeating all week, and then they'll have weekends where they've tripped up, because in the past that wasn't a problem. And when I say tripped up, I say it very loosely, but if you think about weight loss, you need to, be in a deficit of 3,500 calories in your 7-day period of week. In order to do that, you're in a deficit about 500 calories, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, right? Let's say we do it Monday through Friday. And then that's 2,500 calories. Okay. Well, we still need to stay in a deficit, 1,000 calories over the weekend. And many times what happens is Friday night hits, you're going to be 500 surplus. Saturday, you're off the grid all day long. So you're over your calories by 1,000. Now you're 1,500. So now we don't have a 2,500 calorie deficit. What is 2,500 minus 1,500? We're at 1,000, right? So now that what was going to help us lose a pound that week, that's not going to happen. We might lose a quarter of a pound. Now, Sunday, if you stay off grid again, we might go all the way back up to 3,500 calories. And so now we've taken all of our work and undone it, or 2,500 calories. So let's say we were in a deficit 2,500 calories Monday through Friday, and then the weekend hits and we're in a surplus of 2,500. Now we're at zero. There's no weight loss, right? And God forbid you go over and then it's more, right? And so I'm going to pause this and have my son turn that down just a moment. Still a teenager, so he jumps in that shower. So I was like, oh, okay, we're about to Damn, you can still hear it a little bit, and that's okay. You know what? That is okay. We will be all right listening to a little bit of music. But what happens then from there, this is what I notice women start doing. They start skipping meals. And now we're trying to undereat. Now we're trying to, oh gosh, I'm not losing weight. I'm undereating. So now they're skipping meals, they're saving calories, they're trying to be good. And then by Thursday or Friday, now we're hitting what I would call just like the total energy crash. Cravings are spiking up and anxiety is showing up. Weekends are kind of going sideways within that. And they think that, I think a lot of women think that willpower is the problem. And that's actually not the case because we all want to make sure that we are looking and feeling great. And I think sometimes willpower is the only thing driving them to starve themselves. But by the time you hit exhaustion, when you hit Thursday and you don't want to, first of all, you don't want to cook anything because you're so tired. And when your family's like, "Can we order pizza?" Or "What are we gonna have for dinner?" You don't have it made. You're gonna be like, Let's order a pizza." And I say that because that's where I was. When I cannot begin to describe to you how horrible I felt when I hit this 50-pound weight gain. And my weight is up right now post hysterectomy. So I don't sit around, I do think about crawling in a hole and not being a public figure, but at the same time, I do want you guys to see that, coming back from a setback is possible, which is why I stay public. But at the same time, when I was my biggest post hysterectomy, I still feel amazing because I know how to eat to support this season of life, right? Well, back then, I felt like crap. I would get home at 5 o'clock and I didn't care what anybody did. I felt terrible. I did not have any energy. I was staying in my little 1,200 calorie pocket. And so, like, my husband would offer me food, and I'd be like, no, forget it. And so we just have that when you have that energy crash or you're not feeling well. Now we have cravings that spike because your body is like, she needs things, she needs nutrients. Anxiety is going to show up. Anxiety is not our friend. It is not our friend. And if you have any kind of we call it hangry, but it's really just the body, the anxiety taking over the body at that point in time, and we can't. There's no filter anymore. And I don't know what it is about 40 too. Like we just don't have a filter, anyways, right? When we hit this age, we don't have a tolerance. Our bandwidth is different, and so anxiety shows up, and it's a beast. It is a total beast. I will say, like, I have an aura ring which, Aura Ring, if you're listening to this, I'm totally interested in promoting you because I just love your company. That it tells me certain things that spike, and it will tell me before I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. It doesn't say, "Hey, you're gonna have an anxiety attack," but I have learned to pay attention to when it's telling me, like, it will say, "You need to pay attention." And, usually if that happens 3 days in a row, it's about to happen. So I really try to check my Aura Ring stats every single day just to see, like, is my restoration good? And restoration meaning I'm getting sleep. Restoration meaning I'm getting enough, activity during my day. Make restoration and then resting after. Restoration, making sure that my body is not having these big spikes of, heart rates, et cetera, et cetera. So but anxiety is gonna show up. It's not just gonna knock on your door, it's gonna kick it down and be like, "What's up, girl?" And you don't have a choice if you're not eating properly. And then weekends going sideways, I think is pretty typical. I think that we have to have really good plans. But, I do wanna make sure that you understand that after 40, your body just does not have the tolerance. It doesn't. Where in your 30s, there's more, um pockets of failure opportunities that you can just bounce back from. You have hormones running right. You have even if you have terrible periods, your hormones are your best friend. They really are. They're handling business. They are taking care of things. And I'm not talking about PCOS or anything like that. So please don't yell at me. But because I get that. I do have some clients with PCOS, and that is a whole nother animal. And we tackle that pretty consistently as well. It's almost as bad as being in your 40s trying to lose weight, dealing with PCOS. So I get it. But back to being 40, my husband will get yelled at I used to have so much patience for that man. And I no longer have any patience for him at all. you know, I don't even know why he stays with me sometimes. I do get so frustrated. I do not have a filter and I don't have the capacity anymore. And even in post hysterectomy, it's even worse to deal with stupidity. It's if you're being stupid, you're going to hear about it from me. And so your mental capacity is a far less tolerance of the stupidity around you. If it's far less tolerant, what do you think is happening inside of your body? What do you think is happening? Your body is like the same thing. Okay, this girl not gonna take care of us. We about to handle this business ourselves. And that is what's happening in there. So you have told it and showed it. Ooh, I'm hitting my camera. That you're not gonna take care of things. So now it's like, hold up, stop. We know what we're doing. We no longer care about your weight loss because you are trying to kill us. And now we're trying to keep you alive. So when you undereat, that's stress. When you overtrain, that's stress. When you inconsistently fuel your body, that's stress. And when stress is high, cortisol stays high. So when cortisol stays high, now you are running on this constantly needing more calories body to help support now this new level of cortisol. Cortisol runs high. And so when I say runs high, it needs more calories. It needs more input to have the output that it needs to have. And so if you are keeping it risen by not eating enough, by not sleeping enough, by doing too much cardio, by doing classes where you're doing too many reps for weight training, by being really inconsistent with your food, drinking alcohol too often, those things are going to take the cortisol level and it's going to stay on all the time. It's going to stay on all the time. What happens when your oil light comes on in your car? Listen, I don't know anything about cars, nothing about cars, but I do know if the oil light comes on and stays on, that's bad. And your car is eventually going to be like, bye. So your body's no different. That oil light is on, the cortisol is high, and your body does not want you to be like, bye, because it is really fighting for you. Where a car will just be like, whatever, I'm a 2000 model, we're done. Your body is like, we were born in 1976. We are living, buddy, and it will do everything that it needs to do, include storing fat to try to keep you alive, including stealing muscle to try to keep you alive, including not supporting any kind of weight loss journey because it's trying to keep you alive. Okay. And so when cortisol is high, it's high. Listen, cortisol is super handy. If there is a zombie apocalypse and you need to outrun your neighbor, boom, you're good. If you need to pick up a car off a kid, you've heard of that happening. And people are like, and then they're like, how did I do that? Well, minus the fact that I do believe that there are guardian angels hanging out. That's a whole nother story. We have just this huge surge of this stress hormone that is designed to help keep you alive. The problem is when it's running high all the time, now we have fat storage. Now we have digestion issues. You can't even produce the proper enzymes to digest if cortisol is high too long. You can't sleep because cortisol is high. Your hormones cannot be balanced because cortisol is a hormone and it is high and is already whacking all the other ones around because it's a bully, okay? And your ability to stay consistent, it's not going to be there because cortisol is going to drive every decision that you make. Okay. So when women tell me I'm barely eating and nothing's happening and I don't lose weight, I already know what's happening. Their body's protecting them because they don't know how to. And they never have. I hadn't. I was just brutal to my body in my 30s. And I looked great, just to be fair. Great little figure. I worked out all the time, took very good care of myself. When that 50-pound weight gain happened, I was just shocked, truly shocked, because I'll see people that look great and they'll drink a glass of wine and they'll, I'll see them having dessert and I'm like, what, how are they keeping their weight off? And the difference between them and me, they eat food and I wasn't. I was literally starving myself. And I went from 1,200 calories a day. Well, that wasn't working. So then I became a vegan. I got my biggest being a vegan. I gained the most weight because I literally was just starving to death. I couldn't get enough protein. I did not feel well. And there's nothing against vegan. I love the taste of fresh vegetables and fruits and legumes and all that different stuff. But I just couldn't get enough food and it was causing me to way overeat on calories and then just not get enough protein. My muscle loss, just that added to it. And then I went to intermittent fasting because that was the big thing. And so by the time I went to the doctor to try to figure out what's going on with me, do I need to, be just shot and put out of my misery here, put out to pasture. I don't know what to do. And I really got no answers. It's a lot of, this is a season of life and this is just part of it. And it will eventually pass into a new season. Oh, okay. That's super helpful. I'm still chunky and I don't feel well. So can you help me? And what I did was hired a coach that knew how to deal with menopausal weight loss. And it's not a perfect game. Nothing's perfect, but understanding how to eat is so critical. And as we watch the skinny girl movement come across again, I think Wicked pushed that. And I was watching this girl talk about how she stays skinny. She eats 500 calories. She's also in her 20s. So, like I said, when you're young, you can do that. She is going to have a lot of problems when she hits 40. A lot of problems. She's either going to have tremendous osteoporosis and start breaking everything in the world, or she's going to be dealing with quite a bit of belly fat. And I'm sad for her because she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't understand that what she's doing to herself right now can dramatically change what is going to happen to her in the future. This actually fits perfectly to just dive right into Ziva Life because one of the things that I really run into with women over 40 is they're just not getting enough nutrients in general and not just calories. We just don't, our bodies are so stripped. We've had kids, we've had different stuff that we've nursed babies. And so you already have like things leached out of your body. But when your body is underfueled and stress goes up, your digestion really does suffer. And like I said, it doesn't even produce the right enzymes if cortisol is high. And so when your digestion suffers, your fat loss really feels impossible. And that's literally why I use Zevo Life. I haven't drank mine yet this morning. I'm going to as soon as I get off this podcast. But it is a patented microalgae superfood that's insanely nutrient dense. And just 1 teaspoon a day supports gut health, it supports energy, it supports overall recovery, which matters when you're working on consistency and macros. And I'll always be transparent and let you know that they pay me to help promote this product, but I do not partner. You'll notice I don't partner with very many products, and so I only partner with products that I believe really, really help support women's health. This one is. I'm not gonna lie, it does taste like grass, and so I mix it with a powder like a Hydra V, or this morning I did an Emergency because we have all this cold weather here, so I'm just trying to stay up, my immunity to stay up, and so when you drink it with that, you don't even notice the flavor of it, but it does have like an earthy smell to it because it's made from an algae. It's just literally a superfood. But 1 teaspoon mixed in water, and I've noticed that, okay, so like last week I was like, I haven't even gotten sick. Well, I noticed I got a cold. It lasted less than a day. And I was like, the only thing that I have done different is added Zevo Life to my world. So if you want to try Zevo Life, go to zevo.life. You can mix this in with your smoothies. You can mix it in just water. You can mix it in however you want to mix it. Like I said, I stuck it with an Emergency vitamin pack today. That's what I'll probably do until we get through this little cold spell because it's like 2 degrees outside or something here in Tennessee right now. But if you want to try it out, go to Ziva.life, use the code the Diva Deets, and you'll get 30% off every time you order. That's a massive savings. So again, it's Ziva.life, promo code the Diva Deets, and it's the best discount that they offer. So take advantage of that. All right, jumping back into it, macros made simple. What does this mean? This is the series that I'm doing. I want to make sure that you guys know what I'm doing so that my whole goal is to help and support you. And I've really started asking, like, when I get a new follower, I'm like, hey, are you here more for the nutrition, fitness, or content? And a lot of people are like, oh, I just think your content's awesome. But there are a lot of people that are like, I'm here for the nutrition, I'm here for the fitness, I'm here for the nutrition. So I did a fitness series, and the fitness series did so well that I was like, let me just boldly do a nutrition series. Even though I'm dealing with a comeback from a hysterectomy right now, the weight gain that has been associated with it, I finally feel like myself. It's so crazy. I had my hysterectomy November 15th, 2024. It is January 27th, 2026. And for the first time since the hysterectomy, I feel like me. Finally feel like me. And I can feel my body starting to finally just let go of the inflammation and let go of the stress. And so for that, I'm super, super thankful. But so I decided to dive into the Macros Made Simple series because there are a couple of things that are so important to remember. Well, there's more than a couple, but the biggest one is it's not about eating perfect. You have to learn how to be on a flexible diet because life is going to hit you. A really good example this week is I had all this mapped out to, I had video footage set up. We had pre-cooked our chicken, which we do every Sunday. My husband loves to grill. I don't know what it is about fire, but I give him a pack of chicken and he flavors it. It tastes amazing. He just grills it all up and then he brings it back in the house. And then I use that to meal prep. That's what I use. And so usually we meal prep burger patties. We have venison right now, which is very lean. We've got burger patties and we've got chicken breast almost always. This week, I also made a pot of chili because it's cold and I love chili. I have a great recipe called Bub's Chili that I got from one of my clients named Kelly Sandy. Shout out for Kelly Sandy. So it's one of my favorite recipes. We just took it and I adjusted it so that it didn't have so much fat in it. And I just make it as much as I want, probably almost every week right now because it's so good. But we took that and I'm doing this meal prep shop for you guys. Okay. So I was like, okay, you set up the camera. I can't begin to tell you the time and energy that goes into creating. And when I see these creators that have like this huge professional stuff, mine's so like ghetto by comparison, but it's me. And I don't try to pretend like I'm like this big professional. But we're doing the shots and everything. And I'm supposed to have chicken and Brussels sprouts. And I have promoted 2 videos at this point for chicken and Brussels sprouts. And I get in the fridge and my husband has eaten all the Brussels sprouts. No, he has. Someone has. I'm sure we both ate them. But I thought we had like this big bag of Brussels sprouts. We didn't. So right in the middle of the video shoot, I had to pivot to broccoli. And so for 1 cup of Brussels sprouts, calorie-wise, it's about 2 cups of broccoli. Here's a fun fact. And if you watched the video, you caught this. When you do your meal prep, your broccoli, you can just leave it frozen and put it in your containers because the water, when it thaws out, the water will drop down. And when you stick it in the microwave, it will just naturally steam your broccoli. Isn't that cool? Listen, I am ambitiously lazy with the best of them when it comes to meal prep. Some people are like, I don't even know how to spend so much time meal prepping. I don't spend that much time meal prepping. You just have to get complicated out of your head. You have to get really good at the mundane. You have to get really, really good at making sure that you understand that the good things always happen in the boring. The things that run your life and rule your world happen in the boring. I'm wearing clean laundry. Why? My husband did the laundry. That's boring. I'm learning how to play guitar. It's getting better. Why? Because practicing guitar is boring. I do my meal prep every week. Why? Because not because it's boring, because I need it done, but it's the boring. It's the boring side of things. I shower. When I shower, I wash my hair. That's boring. When I shave my legs, that's boring. There are things that need to be done to make your life better, and they always happen in the mundane. Greatness always comes from the repetition of the mundane things. Truly, there's a really great scripture in the Bible, which I don't remember, but it talks about not. Don't take for granted the small beginnings. Because honestly, the small beginnings repeated over and over and over and over is the pathway to success in all things. Marriage. Our marriage has not been perfect. And where we get connection is in the repetition of the small things. Like I said, playing guitar, I'm only practicing 10 minutes a day right now. And just doing 10 minutes a day, every single day, I can see improvement. Every single day, I can feel bigger calluses on my fingers. Every single day. And the only reason I'm playing guitar, because that's kind of a big deal right now, is I'm doing a 49 things that I want to do before I turn 50. My dad played guitar. I always bucked the guitar. And I want to learn 3 songs before I turn 50. So I have 4 months. And so I'm really working on that. And I will share it with you. I surely will. But we're not trying to be perfect here. So macros made simple isn't about eating perfectly. It's not about tracking forever. I track because I want to know. I track because when I don't track, one of 2 things happen. I undereat or I overeat. And when I'm tracking, I can stay pretty middle of the road, even if I have to say, oh, we don't have Brussels sprouts, but I'm going to use broccoli instead. You know what I mean? Eat macros made simple does not mean cutting your carbs. Even when I cut someone's carbs down, I don't cut them down all the way because you're going to feel better if you're eating carbs, especially if you're a woman. I was watching this young 25-year-old influencer talk about how carbs have no nutrients and the body doesn't need them. And I was like, when I eat an apple, tell that to my apple that there's no nutrients in that apple. And I'm not saying that you need to sit down and have like pasta every time you turn around, but there is nothing wrong with having pasta. You just need to track it. You just need to track what you're doing. We don't need to be afraid of food. Food is food. I would love to think that you would be eating food. And as I get older, listen, when you eat really clean, food that used to taste good to you doesn't taste good anymore. I cannot hardly do fast food. My palate is so different eating clean. And it's like I will eat it, but the whole time I'm eating, I'm like, I'm not even slightly enjoying this, you know? Now, when you go to a good restaurant and you sit down and you taste like real food, that's different. You were tasting some really good food, but I don't want you to be afraid of food. It does mean that you need to eat enough, though. It does mean that you're eating consistently. It does mean that you are finishing your food on purpose. It does. It means that you're fueling your body instead of fighting it. That's what it means. And simple doesn't mean easy, but it does mean clear. You know what I mean? So, inside of empowered coaching, what I teach women to do is plan their food the night before. And when you do that, it's not about, I realize we're all busy and I realize you're just slamming yourself to get things done. I realize that. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands today. I'm so Ricky Bobby today. But if you plan your food the night before, now when you get to the day, nothing is going to take you off guard because you're going to be like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to have. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to. Listen, I can't remember minute to minute. If I'm trying to remember my food, it's not going to happen. I just look at my plan, it's already planned, and I'm like, okay, my next meal is this. And so pre-logging your day is really, really super helpful. And don't undercut your calories. When you look at your calories, if your coach has programmed them for you, or you are using like tdecalculator.net to figure it out, um, and you've set it up with the deficit already, it's already deficited. So you do not need to under deficit that more. There's a sweet spot in there, and we want to make sure that we're within that sweet spot. If it hits your BMR, my BMR is somewhere around 1,300 calories. And so I was eating below my BMR for years, which is why eventually my body was like, hey, stop. And so it stopped it. And so you have to go that sweet spot between your maintenance and your BMR. Sometimes stuff happens. Thyroids be thyroiding. BMRs sometimes lower as we age a little bit, so you can lower your calories a little bit. Sometimes they raise, and then you need to raise. It just depends. A lot of it depends on your activity levels and your metabolism. But don't sit there and undercut it thinking, oh, this is the fast way out. Men can get away with that for a little bit longer than women. Women over 40, you can't. Your body will go, hell no, queen. We not doing that right now, right now. No, sorry. So you need to finish your macros very intentionally. I get to the end of the day and I make sure that when I send my coach my macros are finished for the day, when I get to that spot, I'm looking at it and I'm making sure that I consumed everything on my plan. Because when we get busy, we forget to eat. And maybe that's just me that does that, and I'm just like calling myself out. So I have to be very intentional with what I do. Not because it's obsessive, but because first and foremost, our bodies need that consistency. The mundane is where it's at, right? But also because it removes decision fatigue and stress. And that is where that comes in. And so structure creates calm. Calm bodies allow fat loss. And so this is why everything I coach comes back to the 4 pillars. The 4 diva pillars are your water, your steps, your workouts, and your macros. And when one pillar feels hard, you don't quit, you just lean into the others. It's not a perfection game. Macros are just one pillar, but they are a powerful one when done correctly. This 80% of your weight loss journey has to do with your macronutrients and your focus on making sure that you're hitting your calorie intake every single day. And so here's the thing. If you've been eating less and you're not losing weight and you're feeling worse, your body isn't actually broken and it's not betraying you. I felt like mine was betraying me, and that is why I say that. So maybe you're like, oh my God, she knows exactly how I feel. Yeah, I do. Shoo, that was just the suck to be working out all I was working out. And my body was like, we're going to get fat now. Yay. But some of you may not have ever exercised in your life. I love working with beginners. I love introducing women to something that makes them feel powerful. I love introducing women to something that is going to change their life, because we take so much care of other people. And learning how to take care of yourself, there is something so special about that, because your kids grow up and leave. And then you're literally just like stuck in your house, like wondering, what am I going to do if you don't have something to go to? So creating an identity that's wrapped up in good health, I think, is amazing. Instead of turning to a bottle of wine, or not that there's anything wrong with drinking wine, but I see so many women just like they'll go out and start partying and drinking at different. I'm like, no, this is not the age to do that. But if you can, learn how to pick up a 30-pound dumbbell and not be terrified of it, that's a big deal. And then you don't notice it. So you're like, getting in and out of big trucks. That is one thing at this age that if I wasn't strong, I wouldn't be able to get into my daughter's truck. It's a big truck and it's like I'm short. So I'm like picking up my foot to the height of my waist and still getting in that truck. If you don't have any strength, you can't do things like that. My grandson's stroller is not light. I have a jog stroller for him and just folding that up, throw it in my truck. No, no, not even thinking about it, because those things are so important, and that's quality of life things. Those are things that we want to make sure that we can do. So if you are scared to eat more, that fear makes sense, but that is probably the one thing standing between you and what needs to happen. And when I say that meaning more of the right foods, more of the macronutrients that are going to move you forward. And if you don't trust your body right now, that trust can be rebuilt, and not through restriction, through structure. So as you can see, Macro Made Simple, that's really has had a lot of thought come through it. So this content for me this week, remember this: fat loss after 40 is not about doing more. It's not. It's about doing the right things and doing them consistently. Think about practicing your guitar. We are practicing your fitness every single day, every single day, every single day. That's what we're doing, because in the mundane is where you change. And the boring is where the brand new you is born. I would imagine that a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, I'm assuming he's conscious and they're like, my gosh, this is the most boring thing I have ever done. But all of that good work, that boring work that goes into making that person a new creature, that caterpillar, a new creature, that's what's happening. You're cocooning in this mundane. So cocoon consistently. And that's exactly what I teach inside of Empowered Coaching. And so if you are ready to stop guessing and actually learn how to do it, find me on social media and comment the word ready. Find me on Instagram, Donnie Powers EC, Facebook, Donnie Powers, or TikTok, Donnie Powers EC. You can also find me on YouTube, Empowered Coaching with Donnie Powers. And I would love to have you follow. Make sure that, listen, if you like content from a creator, support them. I cannot emphasize that enough. Your like, your comment, your share changes everything about what that content creator can produce, because it tells them first and foremost that you are producing things that they appreciate. So if there is, I speak on behalf of all content creators. If you like somebody, support them. If you are listening to this on YouTube and you don't subscribe by the end of this, what is wrong with you? Support it, because if it's something that you learned anything from, subscribe, like, make sure you comment, and share it with a friend. So until next time, I want you guys to just do one thing for me: stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas. Love you guys. Have such a great day. Thanks for tuning into this latest episode of the Diva Deets. If this helped you and you found it valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Ready for more support? Join my free Facebook community or join my coaching community. The details are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.